Magandang hapon, Malacañang Press Corps. Welcome sa ating press briefing ngayong araw, September 21st. This afternoon, the National Economic and Development Authority, or the NEDA Board, held its 9th meeting, chaired by President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Members of the board discussed matters related to the review and implementation of the country's infrastructure projects. In line with this, the board presented salient provisions of a proposed executive order that aims to expedite the processing of documents for infrastructure flagship projects, or IFPs. The board also endorsed an executive order on modifying the rates of import on natural gypsum and hydride. And to give us more details about the meeting of the NEDA Board, we have with us today NEDA Secretary Arsenio M. Balisacan. Good afternoon, Secretary. Go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon, Daphne. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I am pleased to announce that the National Economic Development Authority Board, chaired by President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., convened and approved several high-impact initiatives during its 9th meeting today. First, the NEDA Board confirmed the proposed executive order that will enable the expeditious processing of licenses, clearances, permits, certifications, and authorizations for the Marcos administration's infrastructure flagship projects, or IFPs. The primary goal of this proposed EO, is to minimize, if not eliminate, delays in the implementation of IFPs. This EO will require all government offices, agencies, and instrumentalities, including LGUs, to streamline the standard procedure and requirements for the IFPs. The simplified requirements will be applicable to both pending and new applications within the NEDA Board approved list of IFPs, as well as any additions to the updated IFP list. Additionally, the EO facilitates electronic applications or application submissions to the concerned agencies and local government units, or LGUs, including the payments and issuance of receipts. This EO encourages a whole-of-government approach by directing national government agencies to automate and computerize their databases. This will promote data sharing among government agencies in order to eliminate the unnecessary duplication of document submission. LGUs are also mandated to establish business one-stop shops and are highly encouraged to coordinate with the Department of Information and Communication to adopt interoperable ICT platforms. In line with this, the Anti-Red Tape Authority, or ARTA, in coordination with NEDA, shall establish a reporting framework to track agencies' compliance. Second, the board approved the reconstitution of the NEDA Board Committee on Infrastructure, or INFRACOM, to include the Department of Environment and Natural Resources and the DICT as integral members of the committee. The DNR's inclusion in the INFRACOM underscores the government's commitment to ensuring that infrastructure development takes into account critical elements such as ecosystem protection, rehabilitation and management, sustainability, and resilience. Additionally, it ensures representation of the water sector considering the recently established Water Resources Management Office within the DNR. Furthermore, as we recognize the continued significance of ICT in the overall infrastructure development, the ICT will play a vital role in appropriately integrating ICT-related considerations in the committee's deliberations and decisions. Third, the NEDA Board confirmed the overall principles and general recommendations for the proposed national government local government unit cost-sharing schemes for financing infrastructure projects. This aims to delineate the roles of the national government and LGUs, particularly in resource-poor areas or where resources may be needed to carry out the devolved functions and shared between the national government and LGUs. Lastly, the National Board or NEDA Board endorsed the proposal to reduce tariffs on gypsum and hydride from 3.0 to 0%. It is worth noting that natural gypsum and anhydrite are not produced locally. These raw materials are used in the production of plasterboard and cement, which are commonly used in construction. With the reduction in tariffs, we anticipate a decrease in production cost and an improvement in the industry's competitiveness as we ramp up our infrastructure drive. With these policy updates, the Marcos administration reaffirms its commitment to aggressively advance in infrastructure development in order to enable social and economic transformation and support the attainment of our development goals in the medium term. Thank you, and good afternoon once again.
Are there any questions? Harley Valbuena.
Good afternoon po. ASEC,
Good afternoon.
signed na po ba ni PBBM yung EO that will expedite the processing of documents and permits sa flagship projects?
The Office of the Executive Secretary will still have to scrub the draft EO for technicalities. Yeah.
Thank you.
So it will be issued very soon.
Sir, just on another issue. What is NEDA's position on the Senate report recommending for the permanent ban of POGOs in the country?
Well, it's an appreciation of what the long-term benefits are versus the cost. Our position at NEDA, which we have submitted some time ago, even in Congress, was that the cost, especially social cost, are quite high, and we don't think that the benefits in terms of the revenues generated and the additional and the impact on the economy are worth the cost. So I think that what we want to encourage are very legitimate, this legitimate investments, good investment in the sense, good quality investments, those investments that will produce goods and services, and not ones that promote negative externalities to society, such as those alleged crimes or and related issues.
Alexis Romero, Philippine Star.
So, Secretary, just a follow-up on that. So, DINEDA is supportive of the Senate recommendation para paalisin na ng ganap yung mga pogo dito sa ating bansa.
Yeah, we have been moving around all over in many countries, cities, attracting an investment to the country, marketing our country as a good place to do business. We are not going around to attract business that are of this kind. We want investments, inflows that will promote not only the economic but also the social aspects of our development.
So, are we optimistic, no? Whatever revenues we will lose in case umalis sila can be replaced by new investments?
I think we do. Look at Thailand. Look at Indonesia. Look at all these other countries around us. They don't depend on those, kind of businesses.
Salamat po.
Nestor Corrales.
Just a follow-up, Secretary. Is this also the position of the President? Have you discussed this with him?
No, this is our position that we expressed at our, yeah.
Okay. Anyone? Jean Mangaluz, Inquirer.net.
Hi, sir. Can I ask what is the President's position on the DOF's proposal to cut import tariffs for rice?
We haven't discussed this yet at the level of the President or even at the level of the committee. We have a meeting soon on that. Hope we will present the options. The issue is basically that world prices of rice are rising and have risen quite sharply in recent months. And so the question is, do we allow those high prices to be reflected in our local markets, particularly for our consumers? What do we need? What do we need to do to ensure that we can protect our consumers, that we can still be rice secure, no? Even as world prices are rising. So and there are options to achieve that objective.
Ivan Myrina, GMA 7.
Secretary, were there discussions on the lifting of the rice price cap? Or until when are we going to implement this?
The mandated price ceiling, when that order was issued, that was very clear. It's temporary. So as soon as we can see a better option of addressing that we have achieved already the objective, then it should be lifted.
Are we far from achieving that objective?
No, that's why we will meet soon to recommend other options. There are, as I said earlier, there are options. For example, we have made mention about reducing the tariff while world prices are rising. I think what was misunderstood was we reduce the tariff at any regardless of the situation. No? Of course, when the world prices are not rising, we don't want to reduce the tariff. But when the world prices are rising sharply, and you don't want that to come down to the level of our markets, for example, at the retail or the wholesale, or even at the farm gate, of course you have to find other options of protecting our people. And reducing the tariff temporarily would be such an option. But in doing so, the exercise that we will do is to ensure that farmers are protected, they are not going to be worse off. That is the objective. Nobody should be worse off. The only worse off here would be government, because there will be less revenue from the tariffs. No? But what is a few billions of losses compared to greater suffering of our population from high prices? Don't want that.
Jean Mangalus again.
Sir, follow-up question. You mentioned na-reduce yung tariffs on gypsum and hydride. These are construction materials, yes?
That's correct.
How will this be felt by common people, the masses?
Well, it not directly, because these are construction materials that will reduce the cost of construction, and even will also help government, because that we are ramping up our infrastructure development, right, which will require a lot of this of cement and other plaster boards and other related materials, no? So that will temper the increases in cost or the cost of this infrastructure. For private citizens, that will also affect them, because they do construct their houses, or they do some repairs. But even when the cost of services are lower, then the cost of goods, for example, if the cost of construction, road construction is lower, and that's done through either government or private sector, then that will mean savings, no? Will mean savings for government, and government will have more resources for other things, like for social protection, for health, for education. So those are important considerations.
For consumers, the andrite and gypsum is used for plaster boards
Yeah.
and cement. So
Yeah.
if you're renovating.
Yeah.
Tuesday New, DZPB.
Hi sir, yung nabanggit nyo sir na soon magmi-meet ulit kayo to recommend to the President yung lifting ng price ceiling. Within the month ba yan bago matapos itong September?
No, we're not. There's no specific thing about lifting, no. But we are saying that we will provide. We'll look at the options and the current situations. For example, we are monitoring closely what's happening in the global rice prices, what's happening to the volume of exports by major exporting countries, no? Because as you know, India restricted exports of rice, and India is now a major rice exporter. Of course, with pressure, external pressure, both the other exporting countries like Thailand and Vietnam would also want to protect their local population from this external pressure, no? And they may also decrease their exports. So those are the ones that are causing prices in the global market to rise. And initially, that was induced by this expectation that El Nino will continue to intensify and will be there until the first quarter of next year. So we're looking at a pretty long period of elevated prices in the global market.
Okay. Thank you so much, Secretary Balisacan,
Thank you.
and thank you, Malacañang Press Corps. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you again.